I'm Nick Westergaard, and this is On Brand, helping you tell your story. My guest this week is Jennifer Van Dijk.
The question we first ask is there an AI-powered tool, frankly, or any tech tool, that can help make this better? We see it more as tools and accelerants on human creatives. I've hired more human creatives since I started investing in AI than before. And I think that's something that kind of gets missed a lot of times in where we are today in that technology's trajectory.
Jennifer Van Dijk is the CEO of Superplastic, a leading entertainment company renowned for transforming animated characters into engaging content, immersive experiences, and innovative products. With over 23 million social media followers and counting, Superplastic successfully monetizes across digital media, gaming, television, and experiential platforms. Jennifer excels in next-gen entertainment, seamlessly merging content and commerce through beloved intellectual properties, AI, and pioneering revenue streams. Before Superplastic, Jennifer was president of Dapper Labs North America, CEO of Hoonigan, and roles as EVP of Digital and Content Partnerships at Wasserman, Chief Strategy Officer for the LA Clippers, and VP of Team Marketing and Business Operations at the NBA. My interview with Jennifer Van Dijk is coming right up. But first,
my dad works in B2B marketing, but I never really knew what that meant. Then one day my dad came by my school for career day and told everyone in my class he was a big ROAS man. Then he just kept saying things like, the bigger the ROAS, the better, over and over. My friends still laugh at me to this day. I think it means calculating a return on ad spend. One thing's for sure, I'll be known as the ROAS man's kid for the rest of my days. Why couldn't you just be a fireman or a lawyer? Why? You ruined my life, Dad.
Not everyone gets B2B, but LinkedIn has the people who do. And with ads on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people based on job title, industry, likelihood to buy, and more. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
If fashion is your thing, eBay is it. eBay's where I find all my favorites, from handbags to iconic streetwear, all authenticated. For real. This time, a little Supreme, some Gucci. I even have that vintage Prada on my watch list. That's why eBay's my go-to for all my go-tos. Yeah, eBay, the place for new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion. eBay, things people love.
Jennifer Van Dijk, welcome to On Brand.
Hi, Nick. Thanks for having me.
So I am excited to chat because your work seems, and as the bio notes, you excel in this kind of next-gen entertainment, but it is kind of this interesting intersection of intellectual property, things digital, and yet also things tangible. Is there any easy way to explain what Superplastic does in an elevator pitch?
That's a great question. I think the best way to explain Superplastic is that we are a next generation set of characters and therefore IP that was really born on social media, and our native ecosystem are digital platforms. But digital platforms live in our real world, and our characters live in our real world as well, and now are taking on different, physical experiential manifestations as well. I think that's the best way to kind of think about it. We started online, and now we're coming into the real world.
Yeah, and talk a bit about, because I feel like there was a time when we thought with, digital first, everything's digital, but it almost seems like as kind of a reaction from that, we also crave the tangible side of experiences, of characters. I'm looking around my office right now and seeing several tangible forms of characters from beloved movies and TV shows.
It's so true. And I mean, I've been in the business world about 27 years now, and I started in some of the first .com businesses in sports where we thought, okay, this whole world is going to be digital first. But I do think you're right. Through the waves of mobile phone adoption, social media adoption and explosion, that really, as human beings, we do crave connection, not just in one form or the other, but in many forms and often simultaneously. And for me, really, one of the through lines of this is doing things together in groups. And that's really where our whole world is now also exploding. We have a group of characters, we have groups of fans that loves to do things together, and our job is to sort of feed and seed that fandom.
Yeah, talk about the role of, because it really is a unique intersection too, but intellectual property, because more than someone who would just take an IP baton from someone, talk about the role that it plays in your business.
It really is the core of everything we do. So the idea that we can and have created our own characters with their own personalities and backstories and connections to each other, and really a world, gives us a lot of freedom in many ways to, ostensibly allow them to do anything, right? But I know from my background, working with some of the best IP in the world of in sports, especially
Yeah.
through like the NBA and others, usually the more established the IP, the more rules that come with it, right? And those rules, in a certain way, are also aspects or sort of elements that allow you to be very creative within those rules. And so for me, we're merging these two components as our IP and our value grows, but it's all driven by community and fans, and what those fans are really kind of saying they think is cool, or what we're showing them that they want to own and collect. To your point, a little bit of nostalgia mixed in there too, I think.
Well, and what you point out too on the really unique position that you're in is, yeah, when you are just kind of, and it sounds perhaps overly simple to say, in other relationships you're being handed an IP baton, and it's anything but as simple as a baton handoff, because like you said, there's a lot of controls around and out of necessity about what you can and can't do with the brand, with the characters, with the stories really that they represent. But when you own all of that, it really allows for the creation of a more immersive experience with obvious benefits to you on the business side, and to the customer as well.
100%. And even within that, it still involves being authentic to our world, right? I mean, even though we own everything and kind of could make them do everything, there are certain things we know that our main characters, Janky and Googie Mon, for example, wouldn't do. And we understand that in part because we made it, but also in part because we know how our fans perceive our characters and what they love and don't love about our characters. And we know when they would feel like something wasn't authentic as well. So it really is kind of a metaphoric co-creation, if you
Yeah.
will, of how we expand these things. But that also opens up a whole new set of ways for us to kind of push the limits of where our characters could show up. What types of products or licensing should we do? Because I think a lot of times too, right? It's skating to where the puck is going, and what we could create that's fundamentally new and not been done before.
Such a good point, and I want to make sure I'm not, talking out of both sides of my mouth after saying, "Hey, congrats! You don't have all of those controls." But as you just brought up, knowing what your characters will and won't do, can and can't do, there are probably some internal controls. How do you, with this unique relationship that you find yourself in here, I guess relationship with yourself, but when you're managing both the IP and the creation around that, what how do you, I mean, I'm struggling even saying the word management, because do you view it as as brand management, or what does that process look like?
Very much. It's one part brand management, and it's sort of one part talent management, if you will. If you think about characters as kind of talent, the way that maybe an agency would think about, their represented human talent. But for us, we are also a startup in many ways. So where does all of this backstory and lore and elements of our characters live? Well, it used to live on a bunch of different documents spread across a bunch of different file systems. What we've created this year is truly, I think, unique in this space, where we're using a bit of AI and a bit of tech to create our character worlds and backstories as sort of living, breathing seeds almost that we can put in the guardrails around. So, Googie likes to kill things with axes, not other things, or whatever the guardrails may be. Janky's a lovable idiot. He's never going to be the smartest one in the room, right? We can build all those kind of rules into our new tool set and now have something that is sustainable over time and can grow as we add new characters and new relationship dynamics, so that it actually kind of keeps us all honest in a way of who's friends with who, how do they relate to each other, what kind of attitudes do they have about things. Now we're actually using tech to help us keep that consistent as our worlds grow and deepen, frankly.
That is, you talk about as the worlds grow, and we've barely talked about the kind of other overlay on the tech side of that with AI being such a big and emerging and kind of all-encompassing overlay to look at with that as well. How are you as a brand keeping an eye on AI?
Mm-hmm. So I think it's about being very strategic with where the technology is most useful today and where it might be in the future, and not getting ahead of ourselves and saying, oh, we're going to make characters out of AI, right? No, because they'll look freakish, because that's where AI visual tech is, today, and it turns a lot of people off. But this is sort of one of the advantages of having spent my career really on the edge of emerging technology in sports for so long, is I think we can take a very specific approach to where is it helpful. So for us, as an independent studio, we're able to use AI as a tool to help our creatives to actually build more robust character Bibles, if you will. Again, we call them seeds because all of our characters today are now started as living AI brains. So they're all their own specially trained model with their own personalities and their own relationship understanding to the world and to each other. And that's where we think AI is most valuable, because that tool set is able to allow us to create deeper characters for a fraction of the cost and really a fraction of time that we can turn live immediately with our audiences. So I have AI characters now that you can talk to when you go through my experience in Area 15 in Las Vegas. You can pick up the phone and talk to them like you would talk to anyone else. You can talk to them on Discord or chat with them through our SMS platform. And what that does is it gives us real-time feedback in how to maybe evolve the characters, which we can then train the new brain, right? And the cycle continues. Where we're not is on the visual side. We use all human, top-tier creatives to design and develop our characters and products. And that's really a combination that we think is super effective right now. But you got to look under the covers of AI and see what's good and leave what's not.
On Brand, we'll be right back after this.
My dad works in B2B marketing, but I never really knew what that meant. Then one day my dad came by my school for career day and told everyone in my class he was a big ROAS man. Then he just kept saying things like, the bigger the ROAS, the better, over and over. My friends still laugh at me to this day. I think it means calculating a return on ad spend. One thing's for sure, I'll be known as the ROAS man's kid for the rest of my days. Why couldn't you just be a fireman or a lawyer? Why? You ruined my life, Dad.
Not everyone gets B2B, but LinkedIn has the people who do. And with ads on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people based on job title, industry, likelihood to buy, and more. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Now, back to the show. I love what you just said because I think that in our rush to kind of ride the wave of AI, we kind of look at everything that it can do without asking ourselves what it should do. And I love that last point that you just made on the importance of human created visuals, art, and design. Is there a hard line on where you define what needs to be someone and what can be something like AI?
So I think for us, it starts with the human creative and creatives, and the question we first ask is there an AI powered tool, frankly, or any tech tool that can help make this better, right? And better can mean a lot of things. Better can mean deeper narrative. Better can mean help me brainstorm 5 other character types that I'm not thinking about. Those types of things. So we see it more as tools and accelerants on human creatives. And I'll be the first to admit, I've hired more human creatives since I started investing in AI than before. And I think that's something that kind of gets missed a lot of times in where we are today in that technology's trajectory.
That's such an important point, and like you said, again, easy to miss. As you've been talking, you talked about the character Bibles, or as you call them, seeds. I love the brand voice that you've developed. I think you were just talking about the human visuals, and I think the very specific and very human voice that your brand has established as well. Not everybody can make their statement on carbon neutrality in the footnote of their website have as strong a brand voice as you do, with the reminder of "fuck you, global warming. Superplastic is carbon neutral." So, what role does voice play in developing such a standout brand?
It is critical, right? And I think incredibly hard for any brand to really hone, because you're confronted every day with things that will challenge how the voice and tone really sits, both internally and with fans. We've really tried to develop and continue on with something that has an edge to it for sure, and is not afraid. One of our core brand vision components is to be fearless and to entertain fearlessly, but also to be funny and to be positive. There is an important essence to our brand too about, we may say it in an out front manner, but it's important to be really positive and optimistic about the future, because that's also how we feel. And I think those two things weave together quite nicely when we, tell global warming to fuck off, quite honestly.
Well, I also think, as you talk about immersive experience development, say more about the Superplastic Dopamine Institute for Pleasure Research.
I'm impressed you said it with a straight face.
I did. That was my best podcast announcer voice. Very official here.
Yeah, brilliant. So, and in there lies the joke, right? So we are a company that kind of blends worlds. Sometimes it's fully within the characters' worlds. And a lot of times our characters, they kind of started as, quote, synthetic influencers that live in our real world, or whatever one considers the real world. And the Dopamine Institute for Pleasure Research is our perfect illustration of that come to life. So it is a 7,200 square foot location in Las Vegas at Area 15, which is a sort of incredible entertainment zone and almost mall of entertaining experiential things to do. And from the first minute you read that name or you walk in, you're sort of connected into our world where our two main characters, Janky and Gugimon, are schemers. They're get-rich-quick artists. They want social fame. And they've created the Dopamine Institute for Pleasure Research, or DIPER for short, to be able to suck your dopamine out of you and sell it back to you. That's their new get-rich-quick scheme. And so you'll notice as soon as you walk in, there's graffiti on the walls, the floor. You almost feel like you're in a back alley in Queens or Vegas or some major city, right? And you sort of see what has now been transposed into being a building that they've taken over to create this, fake human research institute. And everyone that buys a ticket gets a hospital bracelet and goes through as a test subject.
It sounds amazing, and truly, I feel like as brand builders in the general sense, sometimes we use the phrase immersive experience, but everything you just talked about seems truly immersive as well, and sounds like something amazing. So you can find those tickets again on the top of the website superplastic.co, which we'll talk more about as well. In looking at, we've talked about a lot of things, from tactical, tangible things to intellectual property to AI and tech. It's a lot. So as we look at this new year ahead, what is it that you are most keeping an eye on as a leader in a world filled with a lot of uncertainty?
There really is a lot of uncertainty. We moved the company to Los Angeles in June, and I think nothing is a starker reminder of uncertainty than the fires that obviously have ravaged big parts of LA the last few days or week. It is a difficult time, and I think the key things that I'm focused on are really how do we move audiences and communities forward when we're here to entertain and have fun, right? And what I mean specifically about that is, as IP owners, we could be in a lot of places, right? But as a business leader, my job is to make sure that I'm scaling both the new fans coming into the brand as well as, of course, the revenue, whether that be through experience or content or product partnerships. And in a business like mine, there's 9 or 10 different revenue streams that we could pursue. So for me, my focus is really on kind of keeping an eye on what is happening in all of those different areas, but also making some decisions about what's best for us in terms of where our IP resonates and where our communities can grow and thrive. And one of the things I'm so excited about with experiential is that when you walk into Area 15, about 90% of the people that come through Diaper don't know who we are when they first buy their ticket. And that's an incredible way of expanding the brand and the audience, because they sure know by the time they go through our 35-minute experience, right? So yeah, it's those types of things that I'm really laser focused on, and also saying no, to opportunities that that I just don't see as meaningful in the short term right now.
That is a really important point right there of remembering at a time when it could be easy to just go after everything, and sometimes gravity makes it feel like we need to, that saying no is critical as well. Well, from uncertainty, we'll switch to a lighter topic. I've been smiling hearing about everything from diaper to your bold character seeds. Jennifer, I'm wondering if there is a brand that has made you smile recently.
Absolutely. I had a huge smile on my face when I saw one of Gap's new ads. They released a new ad, which sort of harkens back to some of their dance ad glory, but with all new denim and cool new styles, really for today. And it made me really smile because Gap was a brand. I mean, my first job was at the Gap, and I've always kind of, wanted the Gap to succeed through generations, but I felt like it had kind of lost its way there for a little bit. But to see this come back, and I mean, I'm a little biased. My friend Fabiola Torres just took over as CMO over there, and this was one of her first campaigns. I just think it was brilliant. It made me smile ear to ear.
I love that. And again, like you said, there's so much that, to be celebrated about the Gap brand that is, like you said, it's timeless. And finding a way back to that is a reminder of such a powerful brand. Where can folks go to learn more about who you are and what you do?
So our website, superplastic.co, has the bulk of our product, our dopamine overview, and who we are. But if you're most interested in the characters and our fun animated world, I would highly recommend at Janky and Googymon on TikTok, at Superplastic on YouTube, for the bulk of our character and animated content.
Awesome. Well, we will link up to all of that in our show notes, which folks can always find at onbrandpodcast.com. Jennifer Van Dijk, thanks for being on brand with us.
Thanks, Nick.
On Brand is part of the Marketing Podcast Network. If you like what you're hearing, if we've made you smile, you can always listen free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite platform may be. And please take a moment and rate and review the podcast to help others find the show. Until next week, I'm Nick Westergaard, and I'll see you on the internet.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.